What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to another Resplendent review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Resplendent female Corrin and I'll be going over the builds that you can run on her in the modern times, and at the end I'll also have a special bonus segment. So female Corrin is a Gen 1 blue infantry dragon with Gloom Breath as her preferred weapon. She did get this preferred weapon a couple of years back and it has not really aged all that well because it doesn't really provide her with any kind of stats. It does have the threat and attack speed debuffs and also has the seal and smoke debuffs on the attack and speed, but that's pretty much it. She does have the effect where she can get the bonus to her attack, speed, defense and resistance depending on the penalty that the target has on each of those stats. So that can help her, have more stats in the combat, I guess you could argue, but still this weapon is not really going to be enough because she is going to be lacking severely in the attack stat as she's only got 29 base attack even after the Resplendent stats, and she does have a super boon which should always be taken if you can have access to the floret and just go for the attack and speed IV. But even after that, she's going to be not having very high attack stats. So if you're going to be running her at high investment, then Arcane Grima is pretty much going to be the weapon that you should be running. And if you want to use her with Gloom Breath and actually take advantage of the debuffs, then you should definitely try and run her with Aversa, Yune, Gerald, any of those allies who can provide the debuffs and panic on the opponent. That is going to be the best way of using Gloom Breath, but still, most of the Corrin users at high investment are just going to be using Arcane Grima Breath. So we can actually compare her to the other free-to-play blue infantry dragons, her own son, and also Nohr. So as you can see, Nohr and Corrin pretty much exchange their attack and speed stats, and this is going to be a lot favorable for Nohr because she can hit a lot harder and also get more true damage out of Arcane Grima, while female Corrin is not really going to be able to do that. We also have Kana here, and Kana is going to be having 5 more resistance than her, but also having 5 less defense. And female Corrin definitely closes out the gap between her son and her own stats by using these Resplendent stats. So it is definitely going to be very helpful for all of the female Corrin users because she's someone who uses all of her stats being a dragon, and getting any kind of extra attack stat is always going to be really helpful. So unfortunately, she's not really going to be a unit that many people invest in unless they're a big fan of her or just really like her art, which is just top tier. And mostly people who are going to be liking her are going to be investing with plus 10 merges and dragon flowers. I wouldn't really recommend to invest in her without dragon flowers or merges, because on budget she's going to be getting outclassed by several of the modern dragons and her own Halloween version, which is going to be available in the Engage banner, and anyone can just pick that up and basically have a blue infantry dragon with modern stats and a really good preferred weapon. If you want to build her up without really using Arcane Breath, then you can just use Gloom Breath with Defense Res Menace, which is available in the Divine Codes, and this entire build is possible to make up using the Divine Code section and using the fodder that you get out of it. So you don't really have to go out of your way to summon any kind of fodder here, and you can just get Attack Speed Ideal from the Divine Codes, run Null Follow Up, and have this encounter Dragon Sacred Seal so that she can retaliate back to the mages and the physical range units like dagger units and bow units. And this is pretty much going to be the build that you can run with Gloom Breath, and she is going to be able to debuff all 4 stats of the opponent by -7 using the Menace skill and the Threaten skill built into her weapon. But still, ultimately Arcane Grima is going to be the better weapon, and Rearmed Robin is probably going to be getting a rerun at the end of this month on the Mythic banner, so you can try and have access to Arcane Grima. And Arcane Grima is going to be the endgame weapon for her because, just as a recap, this weapon is really amazing, giving her -1 special cooldown, which means that Bonfire becomes a 2 cooldown special. It also gives her +5 to all of her stats, gives you the true damage based on 15% of her attack stat, gives you the guaranteed follow-up attack, which acts as a pseudo half null follow-up on a speedy dragon like Corrin, and then finally heals you up for 7 HP. So this is a pretty nice weapon compared to Gloom Breath, which doesn't really have these many effects and really depends on the debuffs, and if the enemy has got debuff neutralization, then she's just really stuck there. So Arcane Grima is going to be something I'll recommend, and you can definitely try and get the attack speed finish from her Halloween version and try and run that. But if you still want to have the debuff playstyle, then Panic Smoke 4 can actually help you here with giving you the Plate in status essentially, so you can still work off the debuffs if you still want to carry over the playstyle of Gloom Breath without really, running Gloom Breath itself as her weapon. And Bonfire is going to be a pretty good special for her with her high defense, and Arcane Grima is going to be pushing her defense beyond 50, so she's going to be able to do quite a lot of damage with that. And you can also run Speed Resistance Bulwark and Speed Smoke 4 in her Slotsy skill. So you're just going to be stacking up a lot of healing here with Arcane Grima, with the finish skill, with the Bulwark skill, and you can just get the damage reduction out of Speed Smoke 4. So that is definitely playing into her strength, because compared to Noe or Maelkana, she has got superior speed, so she can function with this kind of Speed Smoke 4 a lot better than those units. So she can get the damage reduction and heal up a lot of HP with this kind of build. And you can also run Darting Breath in her Sacred Seal if you want to retaliate back with Bonfire. And in that case, you can just run the Distant Dart skill in the slot A so that she can have extra speed for getting Speed Smoke 4's damage reduction. And again, Speed Resistance Bulwark is going to be a pretty good skill because of its obstruct effect and the fact that you can get the healing. So it is one of the infantry exclusive skills, and Corrin is going to be able to make pretty good use out of it. And you can even run some other skills if you want to, like Null Follow Up here, or even Lull Attack Speed actually if you want to. But I really like Speed Resistance Bulwark with Arcane Grima because you can just stack up the healing, which is going to be pretty nice for the longevity. And because of being a dragon who has access to a 300 SP Sacred Seal and also a 300 SP Slot B skill, you can actually use her in Arena for scoring with B-Dual Infantry 4, and she'll be scoring like a 190 BST unit, which is definitely pretty high for a Gen 1 unit. So if you do have her at plus 10 with Max Dragon Flowers, and if you do have a B-Dual Infantry to spare, then she can definitely work out fine in Arena in terms of the scoring at the very least. But when it comes to her matchups, she's obviously going to be, held back a bit by her stats, and especially her attack stat here. And Dragon Strat 4 does work on her attack stat. So again, the less attack stat is definitely going to be a bit annoying. Definitely try and run her with a lot of debuffs with the Rue skills and Feign skills and Chill skills so that she can perform really well in Arena, and definitely tank many of the units with the Distant Counter Dragon Sacred Seal. Drift Female Corrin and Halloween Female Corrin have such amazing weapons, honestly, and I think that if this Corrin also had a pretty good weapon, she would have been a much popular merch project. So the way I've designed this kind of weapon is to get past her weakness with her low attack stat. So let me know if you like this theorycraft of her improved Refine. So first of all, I would give her a lot more self-sufficiency with the debuffs that she can get. So she can basically debuff any kind of foe in 3 rows or 3 columns centered on her for -4 to all of their stats. And she also gives herself the dominance effect for 1 turn. Now, dominance status does give you true damage based on the debuffs on the opponent. So with her primary condition and dominance, she easily gets like 16 true damage per hit, which is absolutely amazing for fixing her damage output. And dominance has, a precedence on being a free-to-play unit in Genealogy Hilda. So I think dominance on her would be really amazing and unique. And then she can get +5 to all of her stats, and also special cooldown +1 per attack. Again, this is a reference to Adrift Female Corrin and how her Weapon Refine functions. And then with the Weapon Refine part of this Corrin, I'll pretty much give her +5 again to all of her stats and neutralize any kind of foe's bonuses during the combat. So this allows her to function as a pretty amazing tank, just not really caring about any kind of visible buffs of the opponent, while still debuffing them and getting the dominant status herself. And then the Gloom Breaths effect is going to be staying the same on this weapon, where she can just get extra stats depending on the debuff on each of the opponent's stats. And because she's going to be debuffing all of these stats and not just the attack and speed, she's actually going to be able to function and get a lot of extra stats and do true damage with dominance, and also use Ignis and just fire off 2 cooldown specials easily with the special charges that she can try and get. So with the dominance and the special charges, she is going to be able to fix her damage output, and she can also support her allies with this kind of long range debuffs that she can do. So definitely let me know in the comments what do you think about my theorycraft, if you liked it or not. Make sure to share this video with your friends if they're trying to update or build up Resplendent Female Corrin, and if you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks or by becoming a YouTube member down below as well. And for more Fae videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Gloom Breath's debuffs against debuff neutralization. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.